Righto, Teliodo champs. Now today we're going to find out, is it worth spending all that money on a 3090 or even the 3080 compared to the AMD 6800 XT? Because I have upgraded my monitor from 1080p to 1440p, high refresh, 240Hz, and I've been testing all the graphics cards, 3090, 3080, 6900 XT and 6800 XT. So what I'm going to do in this video is take out that RTX 3090 from my PC, my gaming PC, and I'm going to bung in the 6800 XT. Woof, let's see what happens. Now going from 1080p to 1440p, that's another video. I have some things to say about that, and really the reason I went to 1440 and started using these new generation cards is because at 1080p, all these new generation cards, they weren't that much faster than the older generation at 1080p. Yeah, a bit, but not that much. It wasn't worth it, right? So I thought I'll go to 1440, still high refresh, still 240Hz. Now I have benchmarked the hell out of all of these, and I'm using my game. So this will work for Warzone, Call of Duty, Cold War. That's the game I'm playing mostly at the moment, so that's the purely selfish part. And here in Australia, a 3090 costs between 2,700 and 3,000 Australian dollars. Yes, a 6800 XT, I've seen them for as little as 1,050. Still hard to get. A few of them come through lately. So if you think about $1,050 or $1,100 versus, $2,700, $3,000 here in Australia, prices are just as crazy in the UK and the US as well. Really, are you going to spend another, 1,700 Australian, or that's like 1,200, 1,300 US, for a 3090? And AMD are not comparing this to the 3090. And if you look at the price, like the MSRP, you can see there's a massive difference even between the 6900, which I do have as well, but I want to see 6800 versus 3090. Are you going to notice the difference? 1440p high refresh, because if I can't tell the difference, I'll stick with the 6800 XT. So the system I'm using is a 9900K overclocked to 5 GHz, 3200 MHz RAM. This is gaming RAM, tight timings. It's crucial ballistic RAM. 3200 is perfect for an Intel system. Now remember, if you have an AMD system, you can get even better FPS, right? But this system's old, and definitely if I was going to buy a new system now, it would be definitely an AMD system with the 5000 series CPUs. It has 64 gigs, but 32, 16 would be enough. And of course, we have the 3090 versus the 6800 XT from AMD. Now this is a FPS game, so it's not about visuals, it's not about, having RTX and all this sort of stuff. It's just, I want the best FPS, I want super fast response, I just want no nonsense rasterized gaming, which I think 90% of people just want. They don't want all that other stuff. I will note that when I have the RTX 3090, which you're looking at the gameplay now, you do have stuff like DLSS, Nvidia Reflex, and of course ray tracing. I'm never going to turn ray tracing on for Call of Duty. And DLSS, it does sort of work, because the best settings I found with the 3090 was 1440p high settings, DLSS. But I will say, with that Nvidia system there, when you have DLSS on, I actually do notice that it doesn't look as good as like high settings, 1440p. So I think when I compare the 6800 XT to the 3080 benchmarks, I'm going to actually put it to medium settings on the 6800 XT, because I think medium settings 1440p looks similar or the same as, high settings 1440p with DLSS. It doesn't look quite as good as, high with DLSS. So here you can see my epic gameplay on the 3090 here. I will leave both gameplays at the end. And I have benchmarked the hell out of this. You should see how many benchmarks I've done, because I just got this new monitor 1440p and I've gone through all the cards, benchmarked the hell out of them, all the different settings, etc., just to find out the perfect sweet spot for all of them. The 3090, I think the sweet spot 100% is 1440p, DLSS, high settings. Turn off all the other crap like the effects and that. For the 6800 XT, it's 1440p, medium settings, which again sort of looks like DLSS high settings. That's the perfect sweet spot for the 6800 XT. And for the 6900 XT, you can bump that up to high settings if you want. But if you want an extra, 10, maybe 15 FPS, you can go down to medium, which looks the same as high DLSS, and that's sort of the sweet spot there with the 6900. So when it comes down to it, could I notice the difference? No way. I could not notice the difference between playing with all of them. Basically, on the sweet spot settings I just told you, this monitor is G-Sync compatible, but FreeSync worked as well, and I never noticed any tearing. I didn't notice the difference between G-Sync Ultimate and FreeSync. so that's a good thing. I couldn't notice the difference there. In gameplay, in the 2 games I did record for you, I did play better with the 3090, but that's just, I had a good game there. You want to watch the gameplay from the 6800 XT. That was pretty epic too. I got a lot of popcorn there. You got to see that. That's a laugh. But honestly, I could not notice the difference between the two. They looked very similar. The connected feeling, everything felt good. But if I go into the benchmarks, we're getting about 220 FPS on the Nvidia system versus about 200 FPS with the 6800 XT. So there is a difference in the benchmarks. But the difference between 200 FPS and 220, I couldn't feel that. I can certainly feel the difference between 165 and 240, 200, 220, not so much. Now AMD are not comparing the 6800 XT to the 3090. You're supposed to be using a 6900 XT to compare that. And yes, when I use the 6900 XT, but that thing's expensive too, right? Here in Australia, that's $2,000 or, $1,800 to $2,000 in Australia versus $2,700 to well over $3,000 with the 3090. But that thing there, I would get up to that sort of 220 frames per second with the 6900. So my conclusion is, you'll see both gameplays at the end. You can, look at them and judge for yourself because you can see the FPS, everything like that. 1% lows are pretty much the same, so I'm not going to worry about that. But will I use the 6800 XT over the 3090? No, because I'm going to use the 6900 XT. I think at 1440p, you're not going to tell the difference. And I would be totally happy with the 6800 XT, but I have a 6900 XT here, so I might as well use that, right? But certainly if it comes to value, the 6800 XT, and it would be the same with the 3080, I guess, as well. But the 3080 costs, $500 more in Australia than the 6800 XT. So it doesn't matter which way you sort of work it here. The 6800 XT is like the best value GPU on the market for, killer performance. I can't tell the difference between that and the 3090. And if I was building a system, I'd certainly think about getting that if bang for buck is what I want, okay? So anyway, I thought it's interesting. Chuck it up here, see what you think. Anyway, catch you in the next one, guys. Tally ho.
Hard point. Secure the objective. Hard point identified. Hard point locked down. We have pulled ahead. Contested. Throwing frag. Hard point locked down.
Smoke grenade. Throwing grenade. Smoke grenade. Spy plane RTX. That's a kill. Popping smoke.
Fiver.
Throwing grenade.
Hard point located.
Throwing frag.
Hostiles have the hard point.
Popping smoke.
Hard point is secure.
Wasted her.
Contesting hard point.
Target eliminated. Grenade.
located. Hardpoint is secure. Hardpoint lost.
Wasted him.
Lagi. Ba?
Throwing frag.
Hardpoint locked down. Victory's close. Make the CIA proud.
Capture is underway.
Wow. Wow.
Hardpoint contested.
What?
Testing hardpoint. Hardpoint lost. Hardpoint identified. Hardpoint locked down.
What? What?
Hardpoint lost.
TACOM.
Please.
Scheduled spy plane
Inbound.
overflight.
Please.
SAM turret established. Throwing frag.
What?
Throwing frag. Hopping smoke kill.
What's there?
Enemy napalm strike incoming.
Nigga.
Hardpoint is secure.
Bow.
Hostiles have killed the
Just his own ACOM though.
Hardpoint is
Here's
secure.
KIA. Throwing
We've
grenade.
lost the hardpoint.
SAM turret established. Throwing frag. Enemy deleted.
Point is secure. Hardpoint contested. We've lost the hardpoint. Hardpoint lost.
So,
The hardpoint. Hardpoint locked down.
use money. Smoke. He smoke.
One by. Hostile male.
Enemy spy plane inbound.
Throwing grenade. Smoke grenade.
Wow.
Hardpoint identified. Hardpoint is secure.
Throwing grenade.
We've lost the
Throwing
hardpoint.
frag. Popping
Enemy
smoke.
spy plane
Popping
inbound.
smoke.
Hardpoint locked down. Hostile care package inbound.
Capture is underway.
Every wind pushes back the Iron Curtain.